Hello again guys, I'm Zach and this is Z.M.S.C Model Works. Today we're going to be looking at the brand new resin conversion kit of the Nissan GTR R35 from Top Secret. This is a brand new kit released by Hobby Design for Tamiya's 24300 kit. There has been a little bit of confusion online that this is a standalone kit, kind of similar to how Alpha Models makes their resin kits. However, this is a resin conversion kit for the Tamiya 124 scale R35 GTR. Now, there's not a whole lot of parts that get reused from the stock kit. I think there's mainly just the interior and the chassis plate. Everything else is contained within this kit. So if we go ahead and open it up here, we've got our usual assortment of bags. So we've got our resin bags here, clear parts, more resin bags, some parts here for the front grille, the rear diffuser, and a chassis plate. We've also got our tires here, and we've got our body. We also have several other pieces. We've got the seat belts and some mounting screws here. Several pieces of Photo-etch. Actual windows. Our decal sheet. And our instructions. So we'll go ahead and take a look at these first. Just get this box off to the side. So as we can see here, this is the main kind of layout of the actual what's contained in the box. So we have all our parts here, our Photo-etch, and our decal sheets, as well as all of our other accessories. So as you can see here, the whole body is replaces both the engine and the body in this kit. It does not have a hood that opens, and you'll see why in a second. But it does reference a lot of the interior parts here from Tamiya, highlighting those in red, as well as all the Photo-etch parts that go onto it. Same thing here, it gives you the cut lines for the chassis plate and the interior tub as well, and then some pretty clear instructions on which parts go where on the actual kit. And we have our assembly guide here for the main parts. As you can see, there's no engine detail, as this is a solid piece of resin. What that does is it actually helps the resin hold up longer, and it doesn't tend to warp over time, which tends to happen to some of the bodies that are thinner resin, and then they just replace the stock body. It also allows the resin to cure a little bit harder, and a couple other things. So there's your wheels and tires, and then on the back here it gives us our decal layout sheet here with some options highlighted in red, because there are 2 or 3 different versions that Top Secret made of these. There's a gold one, there's a white one, and I think there's a black one as well, but you've got some options here if you want to just make it your own. Going over to the decal sheet here, we've got our various, our window trims here, and then several different logos to go down the side. Very well printed. It should go down just fine. Next thing we have is our windows here. This is a covered piece of acetate, so a lot of these scratches here are just going to be from that clear vinyl over top of it. Which is nice, is these got it's got the trim for already painted on it, and it's got the coils for the defrost as well. And then you've got our side windows and some other clear parts down here. Moving on to the photo-etch pieces. We've got this piece here, has a lot of the ancillaries on the inside, some headliner pieces, brakes, pedals, grills, and radiator covers there. Next piece, we've got some interior speaker pieces, as well as parts for the taillights, and then some other interior pieces as well. What's interesting with this kit is it also comes with this really nice thick brass. It's got a bit of heft to it. Nice thick piece of brass compared to this Photo-etch, but they do both have the spoiler ends on them. So I guess one just provides a little bit more detail, the other one a bit more structure. This one comes with the brake hubs, and then there's a couple of other accessory pieces here as well. Final piece of Photo-etch here, we have our kind of our dials and the logos. We can get this kind of focused. So we have some of the dials here, as well as GTR logos and the seat belts buckles. And then these are already pre-cut, which is why they have the kind of film on both sides, just to keep them in place for later. And then we've got some hood pins there as well, which is kind of cool. All right. Moving on to the resin parts, we've got our body here. And this is a pretty hefty piece of resin. And although it was well protected in 2 layers of bubble wrap, there are some issues like the corners here that have broken off, just in part due to shipping. I'm sure that's no fault of Hobby Designs. It happens, so we're just going to have to rebuild that with some epoxy putty and go from there. But other than that, and it's a very clean, very smooth cast part. Very, very hefty. The panel lines are all nice and deep. I don't think I'll need to rescribe those at all. Maybe just after primer. But a very, very nice cast piece. Very few things need to be added on to it. Like some of the times you'd get these extra bumpers and everything else that would come on the side that you'd add on to the body. These are all molded in, so that takes care of all of that fit and finish. All the parts for our headlights and taillights are there. So a very, very nice cast body, if I do say so myself. And there again, you have the hood is solid, and there's that cast piece in here for all the running gear. To add on to this, there's our piece here for, if I can get this to fit in. Yeah, it's a nice tight fit in there, but this is for the rear suspension, kind of goes in there. Also nice solid cast piece. Then there's also the front grille, which also has a very, very tight fit to it. If I can just get that in the right spot. There we go. So that'll take some fit and finish, but again, very, very nice tight fit on it. We also have a rear kind of bumper diffuser. I'm surprised that this didn't get more nattered, that it's actually in really good shape. And they have all the vents and stuff on here as well. So that's a nice piece. Okay, moving on to the smaller kind of bags. We've got our resin wheels here. The thing I've noticed with a lot of the newer companies that are coming out is they are releasing their molds and prints with the layer lines still on the rims, so it does, on those close-up shots, it really takes away from the finish of the build. There's no indications here that this was a 3D printed part and then cast from it. If it was done with a very high layer count, or it was finished off very well before it actually went into the master mold. And then just of note, there are two different sizes here. There's a larger rear wheel and a smaller front wheel. And what are wheels without tires? Again, Hobby Design usually goes really well with their molded vinyl or rubber tires. I can't really tell the difference between the vinyl and the rubber, but these ones are very nice. These are Toyo Proxes. A nice tread pattern to them. The labeling on the outside as well is very clear and crisp. And then it's just on the back side you have those sprue gates to trim off. We've got another bag of accessories here. So we've got our spoiler, splitter, intercooler, exhaust, and I believe these are headlight buckets in there as well. No parts dangling or falling off of that, so that's good to see. We have our exhaust tips and our axle hubs, as well as some other intakes here. The exhaust, one of the exhausts kind of fell off here, but you can see quite clearly these are very, very thin and well cast part, and that's good to see. Normally you'd have to do some sort of like a turned aluminum to get that level of detail, but kudos to Hobby Design for knocking it out of the park with just resin. Final bag of resin parts. We've got our seat belt buckles there, our mounting screws, some other pins, decals, and then our seatbelt material, as you can see here, for later. And then the final bag of resin parts is a clear resin part. I know I did see the Photo-etch parts for it, so I'm not sure if maybe these are to be painted first and then have the Photo-etch on top of them, because that sprue gate does kind of sit on top of the lens. So if it does need to be just the lens and painted, that's going to take some polishing later, which is a bit of a hassle. But I think that's why there's the Photo-etch there. And then all these clear parts as well are cast quite well and very, very clear. So it's just a matter of carefully removing those from that sprue in order to facilitate that. And that's about it, guys. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and hit the notification bell, because this is our next build that we'll be doing from start to finish, that we'll walk you through and hopefully sort of give you kind of in-depth look at this particular build. All of my social media is in the description. I implore you to go and follow those. And so we'll see you in the next video, guys. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.